So my name's Luke O'Keefe. I'm the director and founder of Angling for Education. My background is youth work. I used to work for the local authority up until 2012. With austerity, all the sort of youth provision that I was so passionate about was cut. I felt like there was a really need to develop an organisation that offered that type of provision. We're what we call an alternative provision provider. We offer provision for children and young people designed to improve their engagement in education. All of this is sort of activity-based alternative provision, and that comes in lots of different forms, either one-to-one, or sometimes 2-to-1, or duos, which are 2 children to 1 adult, or groups, small groups of six young people.
So Brennan was her school refusal from 6, where he couldn't cope with mainstream school, and that included sort of his quite chronic anxiety, struggled going outside the door of the house, getting to school, doing just sort of general things that you and I would find quite simple and easy. He was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder when he was 7 at school, but because he was only going for, say, 45 minutes at a time, they needed to provide some sort of provision, and that's when Bren was referred to Angling for Education. To start with, it was a one-on-one with a key worker, who basically worked with me and Bren because he really struggled from the start to get out of the home. They did one-on-one for a good 4 months probably, maybe a bit longer, and then he went on to duo with another student who was very, very similar, same age to Brennan and his needs, and they worked really well together, didn't you?
Yeah.
And still very good friends now.
I was around in the beginning. When Luke first conceived the idea, we were working together for the council, and he was wanting to bring his passion, which was fishing, to work. We were working with young people, and I remember saying to him, if they're not going to sit still in maths, they're not going to sit still at the riverbank. That's not going to happen. But I was wrong. And since then, I think there's been loads of research that backs that up.
We've come round, and again, austerity is back on the agenda, but I feel being able to demonstrate the really important role we do have.
Do you mean literally A4E stands for Angling for Education? What it stands for is for those young people that are misunderstood. I think even when my parents were at school, there was 5% of people that didn't cope with the education system and didn't cope with the classroom environment. I don't think the education system has evolved in the way we might like in the last 30 or 40 years. Knowing what we know about learning styles as well, I don't think it's evolved adequately. I think there are still a cohort of children that are never going to cope with the classroom environment. And I think what we stand for is an alternative to learning, an alternative way of absorbing our environment, learning social skills, learning how to interact with each other and the world, and just an alternative way of being young.
Didn't like school, didn't want to go to school. I just kind of had a bit of a resentment to a lot of things. Helping me get back into education and kind of showing me the importance of many things. They're really nice people, they're really talkative, they show how open they are, they make sure they're known that they're there to help. They showed me the options that I didn't feel like I had before and what I could do.
When we set up, it was just myself and my colleague working with 6 young people in one school. 12 years on, we've got a team of 15. We work with over 80 schools across West Sussex and bordering counties. It's been a really slow, steady progression, maintaining a really clear ethos and clear identity.
I think we've got this youth work ethos and a massive amount of experience, which means flexibility. Every young person can expect a package that's wrapped around them, for them, about them, and very unique to them. And I think that's the way we stand out. I think a lot of people associate us with angling, but we're everything else. Today is lovely. We're in the middle of the summer holidays in 2023, and we're going back to our roots, so we're literally fishing. So outside of what we normally do, short breaks is an opportunity in the summer holidays with the support of West Sussex County Council to go back to our roots and offer disabled children and their families a fishing activity, which is great. It's a jolly for us and a really good and positive activity on a really sunny day.
Well, Angling for Education did help me a lot. The way that I behaved in school was quite bad, but Angling for Education just made me more happier and just made me feel safe, really. It helped me be patient, learn to fish, do some like crafting. It was amazing. Helped me a lot with all those activities.
Your question is, what else? What else other than fishing? I think you should consider us to be anything that's outdoors. So we were talking about bushcraft, we're talking about map reading, we're talking about orienteering, we're talking about anything that appreciates the environment. We've got some fantastic staff that are very sporty, so people are playing golf, they're playing football. We're getting out in the woods, we're doing forest schools, we're building forest eyes, we've got people that are in and out of old churches and buildings and studying the history of the environment and the local area. And if it's outdoors, it's us.
It was a slow process because Brennan, like I said, anxiety was quite severe. But you know, the patience and the perseverance that actually Angling for Education helped with Brennan's needs, and just was phenomenal, really. So yeah, I mean, from 7 years to not even being able to leave the house to now full-time education, you know, standing in front of a camera and talking, which he would never have ever done that.
The activity is the vehicle. What we're about is social development.
The organisation has remained very, very clear around its identity and really clear around its ethos, despite growing. I think as an organisation we've become much more diverse quite naturally, because we've got 15 people working for us, a really diverse staff team.
I think we're passionate. I think the whole organisation is supported by staff that are experienced and well trained. Most of the staff are qualified in terms of either youth work or youth justice. We've got social workers. So we've got kind of a multidisciplinary approach in terms of the staff and the staff's background.
They do show themselves a lot like a friend more than someone who's there to help you, which is amazing. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to get the help when they need it for problems that they have. I do recommend angling 100%.
I'm not just making this up to make it sound bigger. They have been they made a huge difference to Bren's, how he's come forward and grown. Really, if it wasn't for them, he definitely wouldn't be in this position as we are now, really.